So picture this. You set your alarm for 5:00 a.m., right? You're fully intending to wake up and just conquer the world.
Oh, yeah, we have all been there.
Right. But then the alarm actually goes off. Your room is freezing, it's pitch black, and suddenly staying under that warm blanket feels like, well, the most rational, logical decision on earth.
Because your brain is basically viewing that blanket as a biological shield against any kind of friction.
Exactly. Welcome to today's session of the English Boost podcast. Whether you're, tuning in right now to finally master English, prep for a big career move, or just trying to break out of a rut, we've got something really special for you today.
Yeah, we are unpacking a highly intense motivational conversation today. It's essentially a massive wake-up call about taking control of your life.
Right. So our mission for this exploration is to really dig into the source material. We want to unpack these core philosophies of action over comfort, right? And translate these raw, hard truths into actual practical tools you can use.
Tools to help you stop passively waiting and just, start actually moving.
Because if we look closely at why we choose to stay in bed, the source hits us with a really harsh question right up front. Are you actually happy, or are you just waiting?
Yeah, that's heavy. Because if every day is the exact same, you wake up, chug coffee, work, come home, sit on the couch, it's because, well, you aren't changing.
Right. Waiting is just totally passive. It relies on this deeply flawed assumption that positive change is just going to magically arrive on your doorstep.
And our brains are kind of wired for that, evolutionarily speaking. They want to conserve energy. Doing the same easy thing every day registers as a massive success to our primitive nervous system.
Because we survived the day, right?
Exactly. But the brutal reality check from the text is that the world absolutely does not care if you're tired. It's not going to get easier. No one is coming to save you.
No one. Not your boss, not the government, not your friends. Your life is, your job.
Right. But I want to push back on that for just a second.
Go for it.
Isn't the whole point of working hard to eventually get comfortable like we grind so we can afford the warm blanket? Treating comfort as this inherent trap feels, I don't know, a bit extreme.
I get that. But the source makes a really critical distinction here between rest and stagnation.
Okay, break that down for me.
So rest is recovery, right? You sleep under the blanket to repair yourself for the next day, but stagnation is weaponizing that blanket to hide from the day entirely.
Oh, wow. Weaponizing the blanket. I like that.
Right. Comfort isn't the enemy, but relying on it to avoid any necessary friction, that's what causes dreams to die.
Which leads right into that story from the source, the friend with the messy house.
Oh, right. The guy living in that tiny, cluttered house that he absolutely hated.
Yeah, he spent 2 full years just waiting for a miracle.
2 years just doing nothing.
Literally nothing, just hoping for a sudden windfall of money or for someone to swoop in and clean everything for him. He complained every single day, but obviously nothing changed.
Because, as the source says, complaining is free. Action costs energy.
Yes, that quote is so good. Complaining just tricks your brain into feeling like you're problem solving, but really it just makes you feel heavy and exhausted.
So if complaining is just a zero-calorie trick and our brains are constantly generating these really logical-sounding excuses...
Like, I'm too old, or I don't have enough time.
Yeah, exactly. How do we actually break out of that trap? Because in the moment, those excuses feel like rock-solid facts.
Well, the source argues it starts with conquering your own internal narrative.
Yeah.
You have to recognize that safe is exactly where dreams go to die.
Safe is where dreams go to die. That is powerful.
Right. You have to be the boss of your own mind. They actually give this amazing mandate. You have to be stronger than your sofa.
Stronger than your sofa. I love that. But that takes a lot of internal power, right?
It does. Sometimes it requires leaning on faith or trusting in something bigger than yourself when things get dark. The source uses this really great battery analogy for this.
Oh, right, the battery.
Yeah, so you have this light and this power inside you, like a fully charged battery.
Yeah.
But if you don't physically turn on the machine, that battery does absolutely nothing. You have to become a machine of action.
It's so true. It's just like having a state-of-the-art smartphone, right?
Right.
It's 100% charged. It has the fastest processor.
But it just sits in a drawer.
Exactly. If you never pick it up to make a call, it's just a really expensive glass paperweight.
That's a perfect way to put it.
But practically speaking, when you're exhausted after a 10-hour shift, how do you actually force yourself to flip that switch, especially when the excuses sound so logical?
You bypass the debate entirely. You have to make a now decision.
A now decision.
Yeah, the source isn't asking you to not be afraid or not be tired. It's about doing it even if you are scared.
Mm.
You take responsibility for the narrative instead of passively listening to your brain tell you to stay safe on the couch.
So you stop negotiating with yourself.
Exactly. But here's where the source gets really controversial. Once you decide to take action, they aggressively reject the modern advice of just start small.
Really, because literally every productivity expert today preaches that. Just do 5 minutes of exercise or just watch one short English video.
I know, it's everywhere. But the source argues that small can be too comfortable.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they say you have to start now, but you have to take it seriously. You commit. If you're learning English, you don't just watch one video. You study for an hour, or you go talk to a stranger.
You actually put yourself in a situation where you might fail or feel awkward.
Right. They use a gym analogy. If you only lift tiny 2-pound weights, you never build any muscle. Growth actually requires pressure. It requires heavy weights.
It brings that good pain, the pain of becoming a better version of yourself.
Exactly. There's this great anecdote in the source from one of the speakers about her first corporate job.
Oh, the one where she was super anxious.
Yes. She woke up every single morning feeling so nervous she wanted to quit before she even put her shoes on.
Wow.
But she chose the struggle. She forced herself out the door, and she says that very struggle is what made her who she is today.
We always look at highly successful people and assume they just have frictionless, easy lives, right?
But the reality is they don't have fewer problems. They actually have more problems and much heavier ones. They just have the developed strength to solve them.
It's like running a marathon. The last few meters of a race are always the absolute hardest. Your lungs are burning, your legs feel like lead.
But those are the meters that actually win the race.
Right. They don't quit when they are tired, they quit when they are finished.
That's the mindset. Because starting small builds a habit, sure, but only pressure builds capability. If you avoid the struggle, you deprive yourself of the very friction you need to transform.
Okay, but intentionally choosing struggle, seeking out heavy weights, that sounds utterly exhausting. Where do we find the motivation to actually do that?
Well, that's the ultimate secret of the text. They flip our entire understanding of motivation completely upside down.
How so?
First, you need a vision, a map. If you don't know your destination, you're just walking in circles, suffering for no reason.
Right, you have to vividly imagine the reward, like speaking English perfectly or helping your family financially.
Exactly. It won't fall from the sky, you earn it. But the biggest secret, waiting for the right mood, is a trap.
Oh man, we all do that. I'll do it when I'm feeling inspired.
We all do it.
Yeah.
But the mood comes after you start. Action creates motivation. Motivation does not create action.
Action creates motivation. That is completely mind-blowing. It's totally backwards from how we usually think.
It is. The source gives some great real-time examples of this. One of the speakers realizes he's been delaying a report, waiting for the mood. So he just bypasses the debate and instantly starts typing.
Just forces the action.
Yep. Another speaker realizes he's holding on to a silly argument with his brother. Instead of waiting to feel forgiving, he just boldly calls him right then and there.
Because life is too short for a boring life or silly fights.
Exactly. And then there's the best one, committing to going for a run in the pouring rain.
Oh, I love this part. You look out the window at the rain and just tell yourself, I'm not made of sugar, I won't melt.
Yes. You just step out into the storm. It's like taking a cold shower.
It's a total shock to the system.
But it wakes up your body and mind.
Yeah.
Because today is really the only day we actually have.
That phrase, action creates motivation, it's so true. It's like pushing a stalled car.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Right. Getting those heavy tires to move that very first inch takes just grueling, agonizing effort. You're fighting absolute inertia.
But once it edges forward,
The momentum kicks in. The sheer act of pushing creates the momentum that makes the rest of the job so much easier.
exactly. We sit around constantly waiting for inspiration to strike before we tackle a hard project. But the source proves that inspiration is actually the reward for taking action. It's not the prerequisite.
So, if we look at the core journey we've mapped out today, we have to escape the trap of comfort. Stop waiting for a rescuer to clean up our mess.
We had to embrace the heavy weights and the pressure.
And most importantly, realize that action has to come before motivation.
So now we are turning the focus entirely onto you, the listener. It's time to take the advice from the source and literally stand up in your mind.
Stand up in your mind.
What is that one difficult conversation you're avoiding? Or that big project you keep delaying? You need to find your personal version of running in the rain today.
Because you are not made of sugar either. You won't melt.
Bypass the internal debate and just take the action.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today. If it is true that action truly creates motivation, could it be that your current lack of passion for your job or your studies or your routine isn't actually a sign that you're on the wrong path?
Ooh, that's a heavy question.
Right. Could it simply be a symptom that you've just stopped taking bold actions?
A vital question to ask yourself as you move forward.
Thank you so much for joining us for this session of the English Boost podcast. Until next time, stay brave, embrace the cold shower, and most importantly, keep going.